Hello everyone. This is a second video regarding Section 453 of the Internal Revenue Code, specifically talking about tax deferral on real estate investments and business sales or other highly appreciated assets. This video is going to focus a little bit more on the real estate investor and why 453 structures are so important and so powerful to help you accomplish your goals and also to defer taxes. So the problem that we're going to focus on right now is that normally a common practice for a real estate investor is to use a different code section, 1031, right? And use 1031 exchanges as a way to avoid tax or defer the tax going forward. And you basically, to put it into just a sentence, you sell one property, you exchange it for another one, you go to the next deal, you go to the next deal, you go to the next one. You can just do it forever until you pass away. So the old joke is I exchange until I die and then my heirs get a step up in basis. Now it's like a little bit tax centric viewpoint of your life, but it does encapsulate what a 1031 does. You defer that tax until whenever, right? Until you decide to no longer 1031 exchange, and then you do have to pay the tax. Well, the good news is that with 453 structures, you're able to set up a deal and you do not have to use a 1031 ever again. So it might be obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. You've got two different code sections, so you've got two different sets of rules. The problem with 1031 exchanges is that they have lots and lots of rules, and those create problems when you're trying to get your next deal done. You have to do all these different things. A 453 structure, on the other hand, has none of the 1031 structure problems with it. None of those rules apply. So you've got tons of flexibility and you can do so much more than you would have otherwise done. You're not pigeonholed. You're not backed into a corner there with the 1031 rules. In fact, the first deal that we did like this, it was because the client kept saying, I cannot deal with the 1031 rules. They're not allowing us to do the next deal that we want to do. It just doesn't fit, right? So here's a couple of the things that apply on 1031s that don't apply when you use a 453 structure, and you still get tax deferral, right, up to 30 years. So 30-year tax deferral, none of the 1031 rules. So the first one you have to think about with a 1031 exchange is you got a qualified intermediary. They're holding your money in between times. That always feels a little bit squishy, but we're comfortable with it because, you know, we just know we got to do it. Normally a title company is involved or some other fiduciary that's got a big E&O policy. So the next problem is that during the first 45 days after you close the sale of your property, then you've got to find a replacement. And sometimes you identify up to 3 or more properties. But what if you can't find a replacement in that first 45 days? You're stuck. And you have to figure out, what do I do next? Well, these 453 structures allow us to even take a 1031 that's failing and rescue it. So if you're in a 1031 and you've got a problem and you don't think you can work it out, call us. We'll set you up with one of these other structures. We can fix it after the fact, even though you're in your 45-day period or even in the next rule, the 180-day rule. No matter what, we can rescue you out of a bad 1031 deal or one that's just not working, right? It's not a bad deal. It's not working. That's another point I want to make. Investors are always asking me, what's the right kind of deal to do? What's the right structure? When should I do this? Well, there's no right answer. It always depends. That's a lawyer's answer, right? It always depends because you got to look at your benefits that you're looking for. So the 453 gives amazing benefits that you don't have in the 1031. So first of all, you don't have to deal with that qualified intermediary holding your money. Second of all, you don't have to deal with the 45-day rule. Third, you don't have to identify those properties, right? All the different property rule identifications that come in, the 3 property rule. If you identify more than that, you got to close on all of them, all that different kind of thing. You also don't have to deal with the 180-day rule where you're closing on the replacement property within 180 days. Sometimes the due diligence causes problems and it takes more than 180 days to close it. So you've got to come back in and say, now what do I do, right? Answer, 453, we help you. Another idea in 1031 exchanges, you always got to go up in value, and you got to replace your debt, or maybe even go up in debt. Well, with the 453, you can wipe all that out. You may not have any debt going forward. You can take your net asset. I'll say that again: no debt. Right? I like that. I love being free and clear. So no debt is required. You can just sell your property and take that net sale proceeds and make a new set of investments. And you don't have to worry about dealing with more debt. And a lot of investors that have been investing their whole career, they're like, I kind of like to get out of the debt problem. So they want to get away from that, and the 453 solves that problem for you. You do not have to replace that debt. So fantastic set of benefits. These are just a few of the many benefits. But remember, there's never a right or a wrong answer. It's just what's the benefits that you're looking for. 453 eliminates all those 1031 rules so you can set up a deal the way you want it. Here's one more: diversification. You maybe want to take half that money, that net sale proceeds, and go into real estate. You may want to take part of it off the table and put it in CDs, or buy a stock portfolio, or supplement some other type of investment structure, or put into a business deal that you're doing. None of those would be possible with a 1031 because you got to do real estate for real estate, land for land, land for commercial, houses for apartments, whatever. It's got to be real estate. If you want to do anything other than that, if you want to diversify even a little bit, you get taken advantage of by the 1031 problems. So diversification is another huge important benefit that you do not have to comply with under the 1031 rules. 453 solves all that. You got this tremendous set of benefits. So call us if you want to get out of the 1031 rules. I'm not saying 1031 is bad. Of course not. I'm never saying that. 1031 is a great way to go forward, but it may not be right in every situation. If it's not right for you, or you got a problem with your 1031, you need a rescue, we'll throw you the life raft. We'll do a 453. We'll save all the taxes and move it forward. That's it for today. Have a great day. I hope this has been helpful for you, and call us to structure your next deal.